I go all the way to New York, and all I have to show for it is this crummy grail. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggelhaus, and in this one, I'm back. I am back. I mean, I feel like I haven't been gone for that long, but I feel like also, you know, when you've been doing YouTube so often for like 4 years straight, you know, to take like a week off feels like a long time. So it's kind of weird. Now, you guys may notice I'm in a little bit different section of my room. Few things. My computer died, which is one of the reasons why I didn't make videos. Also, I got sick after coming back from New York, so it was a little bit out of commission. But yeah, the computer is down. Couldn't film, you know, for a while. So I was like, oh man, I guess I can't do any YouTube videos anymore. And then I remembered I have a phone and I can make something. So here we are in the reader's corner, you know, of my room. This is where I get the coffee and, you know, get the books and read Ultimate Spider-Man and things like that. But I wanted to do a video, you know, a Sunday video here, conversation with you guys. Just a lot of stuff I've been thinking about recently. And I think, you know, I'm going to title this video something along the lines of, you know, the hobby you remember is never coming back. Ooh, man, that's a good one right there. If I saw that title, I'm definitely watching that video. And it's something I've been thinking about, you know, for a little bit of time, and especially coming off of the heels of New York Comic Con. Not like that I've had any like sort of big new revelations in our hobby, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that I saw there that I feel like, you know, reinforce this thought process of, you know, what I wanted to discuss in this video here today. So it's going to be a little bit more rambly, a little bit more, you know, shoot from the hip type of video. So I don't know, you know, put me on in the background or whatever. You guys are enjoying your Sunday, just have me on and let me cook for a little bit. But before I do, like, comment, subscribe. Also, I wanted to share with you guys my book. Yes, I did come back from New York Comic Con, and check it out, guys. Captain America #3. Classic Alex Schomburg cover. First Stan Lee work. Big grail that I've wanted to get. Obviously, CGC 0.5. This is one of the books that came out of the Comic Connect auction, the Ruben Blades auction. As you guys can see, beautiful presenting book. Nice cover. This is a book I've wanted for so long. It's definitely been on my, you know, target list. I've had many opportunities to pick it up before. I had been eyeing it. I bid on some ones, didn't lose others. I had my computer crash one time when I was gonna win one, and it just didn't work out. But this one finally rolled along, and I thought that this could be go for a really good price, and I think I got it at a really good price, which was under $7,000. Which, in my opinion, I think that is a great buy. Granted, it's a 0.5, but it's a complete copy. The reason it is a 0.5 is, you can see right there, has the rat shoe right on Red Skull's shoulder. Who really cares about shoulders anyways? But as you guys can see, one of my all-time favorite covers. I think that this is one of the great Golden Age comic books for many reasons. Third appearance Captain America, first Stan Lee work, Alex Schomburg cover, Jack Kirby, Joe Simon working on this book. This is like a moment in history where you have all these legendary creators coming together and, you know, telling a story about one of the greatest superheroes of all time and the first cover appearance of the Red Skull. You know, classic damsel in distress right here. So I am super happy to have picked this one up, added to the collection, and yeah, that's my haul from New York. I didn't actually buy it at New York Comic Con, but I did pick it up from Comic Connect, their office. Because it just so happened that they didn't ship my book yet. And I was like, oh, I'm in New York. I'm just going to go pick up the book. So anyways, that's my story. Now, why did I decide to talk about this book in a video that I titled, The Hobby You Remember is Never Coming Back? Well, it's interesting. A little YouTube aside for a second. Normally, I would do a video about that book, right? About my pickup of that book. You know, maybe I would say like, oh, I bought a Grail or something like that. But one of the interesting things I've noticed over time in my, you know, doing YouTube and stuff is that, you know, the audience, the people who watch this stuff, like their relationship to the content that I think that they want from me has kind of morphed in a lot of ways. Like, not to say that you guys aren't interested in like the books that I'm picking up. It's just sort of like, before I might have done a video like that, and some people might be interested in it, but ultimately, I don't know if that's the same world we live in these days with comic books. You know, I think that the audience, like what they want, and you guys can tell me, You guys know better than certainly what I know, but I only know because I kind of feel it, out there. But the audience is not as interested in that type of content. The audience is much more, diverse now and vast than it has ever been before in the comic book space. And I think that that's one of the things, with New York Comic Con and the title of this video that I think I really want to sort of connect the dots here. It is incredible to me how many different pools of comic collecting there are now. And I realize that that's sort of always been the case, but it was just so reinforced to me at New York Comic Con. Like, do you guys ever have that experience? Like, maybe you were there, or maybe you're at San Diego. Like, I'm going around, the show, I'm walking around, and I see like a giant booth, that's like, whatever, I don't know, like Comic Revolution. I don't know who they are, but like they have a giant booth there. And there's like people in line. They have like multiple employees. And here I am, a person who has a YouTube channel, albeit a very small niche thing that is like knee deep in this hobby, doing comic books and stuff. And I don't know who they are. But I'm not saying that they're not someone special. It's like clearly they have a following. Clearly they're huge. Like clearly they are a successful business. But at the same time, it's like it's amazing to me that it's so disparate and siloed within the comic hobby that all of these entities can sort of exist and be successful and have a huge, massive audience and a huge, massive following and all these things. And I guess that's kind of where I feel like this topic of conversation, kind of connects, which is I see it a lot in the comment sections and on forums and Facebook groups and other social media places. A lot of conversation of like, whatever. CGC has ruined the hobby, or like whatnot packs are ruining the hobby, or variant covers have ruined the hobby, or Marvel Disney TV shows are ruining comic books, and all of these things. And like, the reality is this. This is the new norm now, right? This world we live in, this new state of comic books, this is comic books now. No longer is this idea of like, I want to go to, an LCS and buy my Bronze Age horror off of a newsstand, for under $1, and it's raw comic book and it's written by, Neil Adams and Bernie Wrightson. Like that window of comic book collecting, it's gone. Like it's dead. It's done. It's never coming back. But that's okay. Like, what did Vision say? Like, a thing isn't beautiful because it lasts forever, right? What a great line. It's one of those things that's like, I just feel like people have to start to be okay with where the hobby is. Because I feel like, if you're married to this idea, or you're so set in the ways of like, this is what comic book collecting should be, I worry that you might miss a lot of the good that is in the hobby. Now, let me caveat here. There's a lot of stuff in comic books that I also think is lame. Like, I think that there's a lot of things that's like products I wouldn't buy. I think variant covers are definitely overdone. Like, I would love to go back to a time when like you could just go and pick up Spider-Man, and even on the cover of Spider-Man, it's done by the interior artist, because like, why wouldn't the interior artist do the cover? I don't know. It seems like the person who's telling the story should also tell the story on the cover, but I digress. But it would be nice if it was like, oh, within the story, it's like Spider-Man, he's fighting Green Goblin, and that's the cover. And then like, you go into the book and like, that's what you get, as opposed to like, this day and age we live in, where it's like all of a sudden you're reading Spider-Man, and all of a sudden it's like a variant cover done by J. Scott Campbell with Psylocke on it. It's like, why am I buying a Spider-Man book that has Psylocke on the cover? Like, it doesn't even make sense to me. But here's the thing. There's still a lot of great stuff in the hobby. You know what I mean? Like, there's still a lot of good stuff going on. And don't let perfection be the enemy of good here. Where it's like, yes, in an ideal world, it would be nice to not have so many variant covers. But at the same time, it just is what it is at this point. It just is what it is. Again, going back to New York, you just see it. It's like we're in Vintage Pavilion, and there's a lot of people that want to just buy their back issues. And next to them, there's like a giant booth, that's like a variant cover booth or whatever. Here's like a giant modern thing that sells like mystery bundle packs, and then here's like the pop figurine thing, and here's the toy vendor, and here's this, and then here's the cosplayer who's standing in my way and I can't get into the bins. And this is just what it is now, right? This is just what it is. And that's okay. Because the part of the hobby that you're still looking to have, the enjoyment you still want, it's still there for you. Don't let all of this other stuff make you feel disillusioned with what's going on out there. Because there's still so much fun. There's still so much good. There's still good stories going on. There's still good comic books being made. And there's still a lot of people that, you can still go dig in the back issues and find those raw bronze horror comics and collect those. And nothing takes that away. You could still read old Spider-Man. You don't have to buy VV digital comic books. You don't have to buy Whatnot packs. You don't have to be on Whatnot. All of this stuff is fine. Now I understand too that there's some elements here that that I would agree with. Like some elements of gatekeeping I think are actually important and true. I actually do think not all gatekeeping is bad. Right? Like there are some things that you can voice your opinion on and say, hey, you know what? I don't really like that product. Or, hey, you know what? There are some things that are sacred. Like if all of a sudden some writer wanted to say that Spider-Man doesn't shoot webs anymore, like we should all gatekeep that. You know what I mean? There are some things that's like, hey, that's not cool. So I'm not saying that you can't gatekeep or you can't voice your opinion. It's just, to me, it's one of those like, whatever version of the hobby you wish was still there or you want back or you feel like, oh, all these things have ruined it, I just implore you, it's like don't let that take the joy out of it, because the hobby is still there for you. It's still there for you. It's like when I picked this up, I was so excited. You know what I mean? I was so excited. And I know what you guys think, how could you put it in a CGC slab? I mean, go find this book raw. You can't do it. Everyone is going to slab this book. If you're somebody who has a copy of this book, it's going to end up in a CGC slab. Grading, whether you like it or not, is here to stay. CGC is here to stay. CBCS is hopefully going to stick around and be here to stay. We want, I contrary to what people may think, like I want CBCS to do well, and PSA is coming in and they're going to be big. Like they're going to be, have a huge presence there. And I know a lot of people like to complain about CGC and say that, like what they're doing has ruined it and people don't want slabs anymore. And there's elements to this that I can understand, that side of the argument. But also, you guys got to remember, like, dude, CGC is massive in terms of not just the comic books that, you guys are sending into grade because we have vintage back issues and all this stuff. Like, they're massive. Like when you go to CGC and you see them at New York, with their multiple booths there, like, they have so many people that are, like, just dropping off comics that are for their own collection, that were signed by the artist, 5 booths away. And I know it's crazy. But hear me out here. Sometimes people just want to get their book signed and put it in a slab. I know. Wild thought. But there's a lot of people that do that. In fact, I would almost guess that there's more people who slab modern comic books that, like, say are signed, or they're just like whatever. It's like the variant foil that they wanted to pick up at New York Comic Con, that they just want it on their shelf. There's so many casual people that are in comics that just kind of want to have a bunch of tchotchkes within the collectible space because they like it, because it looks nice to them. You know what I mean? And those people are a big part of how CGC makes their business. So that's not going away. It's not going away. You know what I mean? And also, too, when we think about CGC and like them ruining the hobby and all this stuff, I mean, we've had this conversation many times on the channel, and I know like maybe not, you guys are not going to agree with this or whatever. But dude, like, you ask any old school person who's been in comic books for a long time, they'll tell you so many horror stories about before CGC, like how many, like people were selling, resto books or things that were like not actually complete or a lot of shenanigans. So at the very least, for as much as CGC gets wrong, like at least they're in some ways being that third party that is, kind of giving you a general ballpark of what the grade should be. So it makes, this online world we live in a little bit more palatable to the state of the hobby for buying comic books online. Because listen, online's not going anywhere. And that's, again, back to the topic of this video. The hobby you remember is never coming back. I know that's hard to say, but it's just not. Comics is different now. We're never going to go back to that wonderful time. And listen, I'll date myself. First time I walked into an LCS was 1989, off of the Batman movies, right? Saw Tim Burton Batman, probably went straight from the movie theater into an LCS. That was my origin story there. And that was great, just buying up, dollar issues and just bagging and boarding them pre-CGC, influencers and YouTube channels and all of this stuff. Before all of that, everything was just localized and it was fun. But those days are gone. Those days are gone. Did you see Todd McFarlane talking about Comic Tom? Saying what he does for the hobby is huge and massive, and YouTubers and social media people, and it's even he knows. It's and again, it's one of those things like the influencer thing. I think is so interesting. But whether you hate influencers or you like them, at this point, it's also a part of the hobby, and that's not going away either. It's just, this is what it is. This is the hobby now. And we just all have to learn to deal with it. We just all have to learn to be okay with it. It's a crazy time coming up. Not to get political, but I've been, I'm sure you guys are thinking about the election and stuff. And it's almost kind of reminds me of this video topic here. Now, again, not to trigger anyone. I'm just going to give you my opinion. Okay? In my opinion, it doesn't matter who wins. Whether you like one candidate or you don't like one candidate or whatever, the fact of the matter is, by and large, for the most part, whoever wins is going to have little to no effect on your life. What has more effect on your life is what you do, what you control, and the people that exist within your immediate community. That's the truth. So getting all worked up of who wins or whatever, it's over and this is ruining the country. It's the same thing in comic books. You know what I mean? It's whatever's going on, Ben Gates, CGC, whatnot, PAX, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Tune it all out, Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Just find the thing that you like. Turn off all the other elements. And just enjoy the hobby. Because there's so much cool stuff going on. There really is. And be open-minded about it too. I'm really trying to just take in other aspects of comic books and stuff, and just trying to read as much indie, stuff as much as I can, or look at new modern stuff, and just enjoy that for what it is. The Absolute Universe. I'm trying to read that. Starting to, see what it's all about. To be honest, guys, I didn't love Absolute Batman. I didn't. I mentioned that. But it's okay. I'm okay just checking it out and taking it for what it is. So anyways, I don't know. That's kind of my little rambly rant here today. It's just something I've been thinking about and seeing people, complain about it. With Agatha all along, I don't know if you guys have been seeing or watching Agatha. I actually finished it. And you know what? I was wrong. I was wrong about the show, because I think I made a video talking more about how there was very few Spec books in relation to the show that were moving. And I think that generally that still is mostly true, especially when you compare it to other properties. Deadpool and Wolverine obviously had a lot of impact on the market. Agatha, not so much. But that being said, I also made mention that the trailer didn't excite me and that the show didn't look too good. But I think I was wrong there. I actually really enjoyed the show for what it was. Again, I just took it as it is. I didn't expect anything out of it. I didn't have any, feelings of the show has to be this or whatever. And I just watched it for what it was. And even though they changed like the origin story of, Wiccan and Speed and all that, I just, who cares? Like, it worked for what the show was orchestrating. And at the end of the day, it was pretty coherent. It made sense. It was like, oh, yeah, I get it. Which says a lot for a Marvel movie these days. That's where my bar is with a lot of this stuff. Like, as long as the show makes sense and is relatively successful doing what it seemingly was attempting to do, that gets a thumbs up in my book, for sure. I mean, it's certainly better than Secret Invasion, right? It's better than Moon Knight, better than She-Hulk, better than a lot of the shows. More enjoyable than Miss Marvel, in my opinion. So yeah, I kind of dug it. And what's her name's character? That's pretty cool. Journey's Mystery #1. What do you guys think about that? Or Captain Marvel 28. What are we thinking? I think it's Jim #1. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. Me shooting a little bit from the hip. Yeah, I don't know. Very interesting stuff. What do you guys think? What's going on right now in your world of comic books? What do you guys think the culture is like? I think it's so interesting. You know what I think? I never really made a video talking about the Comic Tom and Sticky Goose thing. Now that we're 22 minutes in and nobody's watching this anymore, maybe I can discuss it. I'm sure you guys all know about it and you guys saw it. But it was interesting because I feel like, in a weird way, once that whole live stream thing happened, it was like we just put an end to like all of this sort of drama negativity stuff going on in the hobby. And it's still always going to be there. There's still going to be some elements there. But I really do believe that between that and like New York Comic Con, and again, this is just anecdotal feeling that I have, empirically what I see, it really does seem like there's a lot more openness to where things go from here, in the hobby. We've been on the schneid value-wise for a long time, and people have been very, very negative. And by the way, I'm going to do an update, yes, for our October index video. So stay tuned for that. But I think now, like, there's kind of just like a new open-mindedness to where things can go. And I think maybe that's why I'm sort of like doing this video and wanting to talk about it, because again, it's like, if you're somebody who still feels like all of these elements are ruining the hobby, I guess I'm just trying to do my little PSA to say to you, like, don't let perfection be the enemy of good. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be like what it was. It was better, in a lot of ways back then, but it's just not going to be there. But there's still a lot of good. So be open-minded. Don't get wrapped up in what people are going on and the negativity and all this stuff. And if you don't like certain things going on, just don't engage in them. You know what I mean? Just don't like CGC. Don't buy CGC. And just take it as it comes and just enjoy it. Anyways, that's all I have for this video. I'm feeling better now. I was really sick earlier this week, and my computer is dead. So we have to film videos like this. But I ordered a new one. It's coming. So I'll make more videos about it soon. And I'll get my finger back on the pulse of a comic collecting hobby. And we'll see how things go for the rest of the year. Anyways, hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are having a good life in comic land. Things are about to get crazy this week. Don't let it get crazy. You know what I mean? Don't freak out. Anyways, that's all I got. I would have made a video about this, but I thought I would include it in this. It's one of the most expensive comic books I've ever bought, guys. Truly. It's so cool. I know it's a 0.5, but it's a complete 0.5. Really, really cool book. Piece of history. This is true comic collecting history, in my opinion. Now, there is one thing that I could talk about with this. And again, a little bit of bonus content here. Guys, it's been a while. I'm just rambling. Again, put me on in the background. It's fine. There were so many times I tried to buy this book, and it never really worked out all the other times. And it's funny enough, there were other times that there were 0.5s that I was looking to buy, and I almost bought them, but again, like I said, my computer crashed. I'm having a lot of computer trouble. Guys, what's going on? Anyways, I ended up getting this one for cheaper than all of the other times that I attempted to buy it. So that's kind of a really interesting thing. You know, I think if I was going to make a video about this, it probably would have been something along the lines of patience. You know what I mean? Like patience, you know, knowing when to strike, knowing your number, and just waiting for that moment. So it was sort of meant to be. You know, it was meant to be. One of my favorite old school videos had a good title, which was "Let Books Find You." I still believe in that. Let books find you. Because the thing is this: if you want a book and you are aggressively going after it, chances are you're going to have to pay the premium to get your hands on it because you want it, right? But if you just let books fall into your lap, you know, you got the patience, you know, you just wait around, wait for your moment. That's when you get the best deals. And that's why I think I got a best deal here. Because in like 2019 or like, you know, even before COVID times, like this book was selling for like, I don't know, someone bought like a 0.5 for like, I don't know, $9,000 or something like that. So I got it cheaper than someone who bought it back then. And my copy looks better. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. Let me know what you guys think. Did any of this make sense? Are you guys even still watching at this point? Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Just thought I would talk a little bit to you guys. See how you guys feel. See what you have to say. I was going to try to land on something witty and funny, but I can't think of anything. So I'm just going to say, again, it's been a while, guys. I haven't recorded in a while. I'm not as sharp. I'm not as sharp as I normally am. Anyways, this video's been too long. Hope you guys are doing well. The hobby, you remember, is never coming back. But that's okay. Because there's still great hobbies to enjoy. And the hobby that you want to enjoy, in some ways, can still be there for you. Anyways, that's all for this video. Like, comment, subscribe. See you on the next one.